The first time people saw Keanu Reeves in public without bodyguards or an expensive car, it surprised them. A man of his fame and success was expected to stay hidden behind walls of luxury, but he walked down the street in a simple jacket, carrying a small bag, and waiting for the bus like everyone else. This single moment started to build the feeling that people had about him. It was not only about seeing a star live simply, it was about noticing how his actions matched his quiet words. Many people wonder why they trust him so easily. Trust is not something that comes fast, especially with celebrities. Most people believe stars are acting even when they are off-screen. But Keanu is different. There is a hidden psychology that explains why people feel safe with him. It starts with the way he listens. When he is in an interview or meeting a fan, he does not rush. He gives time. He leans slightly forward, nods, and makes the other person feel important. These small signals of respect are often missed by others, but the brain notices them. Years ago, there was a moment when a fan approached him at an airport. The fan was nervous, holding a book to be signed. Instead of just signing quickly and leaving, Keanu stopped, asked the fan about the book, and even smiled softly, as if he was the one honored. In that instant, the nervous fan calmed down. This is called emotional mirroring. When someone shows calmness, kindness, and steady energy, the brain of the other person feels safe. Keanu does this naturally, without force. But there is more. Trust also comes from stories of struggle. People know he lost loved ones. They know he faced pain but never used it as a weapon against the world. Instead, he chose silence, humility, and resilience. This history makes people believe he understands suffering. And when we think someone understands our pain, trust builds faster. The psychology behind it is simple, but deep. Humans are wired to notice honesty. Our bodies respond not only to words, but to tone, eyes, and gestures. Keanu keeps his tone soft, his eyes gentle, and his gestures open. This makes people feel he has nothing to hide. It is rare in a world full of pride. One evening, a young woman shared a story online. She said her car broke down near Los Angeles. She was alone and afraid. Suddenly, a motorcycle stopped. The rider removed his helmet. It was Keanu. He did not speak much, but he helped her push the car to safety. Then he smiled and left. No cameras, no attention. This story spread because it was real, not staged. People saw the same pattern again and again. Kindness without asking for reward. Psychologists explain that when someone acts kindly without clear benefit, the brain tags them as trustworthy. It is called altruism signal. Most people in power show kindness only when they know it will be seen. Keanu shows it when nobody is watching. This is why people believe him, even if they never meet him. Still, trust does not only come from good acts. It also comes from restraint. Many stars share every detail of their lives, trying to control how people see them. But Keanu keeps his private life quiet. He does not fight for attention. This silence makes people curious, but it also makes them respect him. Trust grows stronger when we feel someone is not forcing us to believe them. There was another scene on a subway in New York. A woman entered, holding heavy bags. Many passengers avoided her eyes, pretending not to see. But Keanu stood up quietly and gave her his seat. He did not know someone was recording. The video went viral, but the moment itself was simple. This act showed not fame, not wealth, but respect. And respect is one of the strongest roots of trust. Humility plays a part, too. People often say that pride builds walls, but humility builds bridges. Keanu's humility makes people feel they are on the same ground with him. They do not look at him as an unreachable star, they see him as a person. When people feel equal, they open their hearts. Deep inside, every viewer feels a strange pull. Why do we believe his smile is real? Why do we believe his silence is honest? It is because his actions repeat the same story. Respect in small places, kindness when unseen, humility even with fame, resilience even after pain. These repeated signals shape the hidden psychology of trust. The first part of this story is not only about one man. It is about the deep need all humans carry. We all want to feel safe. We all want to know there are people who respect without reason, who help without reward, who stay humble even when the world gives them power. Keanu reflects that need. That is why people trust him instantly. The story of why people trust Keanu Reeves does not stop with single moments. Trust grows when patterns repeat. In part 1, we saw how humility, respect, and resilience build the foundation. But in part 2, the focus moves deeper into the unspoken ways he connects with people and the conflicts he faced that shaped this bond. Every person carries a private storm. Keanu's storms have been heavy, and yet he never uses them to draw pity. Years ago, when his sister was battling illness, he quietly supported her. He spent millions on her care without telling the world. Only later, people discovered how deeply he gave. This story was not spread by him. It came from those close to him, and that silence itself became powerful. People realized that he helps not for attention but for love. And when love guides action, trust is born. But trust also grows stronger in conflict. There was a time during a film shoot when schedules ran late and crew members were tired. In Hollywood, big stars often stay away from crew issues. But Keanu did something unexpected. He arranged breakfast for the whole team, spending hours with them as if they were equals. The crew was shocked. Later, some said they felt more loyal to him than to the production itself. When leaders step down from high places to stand beside the ordinary, people feel safe. This brings us to an important truth about trust. It is not built in grand speeches, but in small daily choices. Psychologists call it microtrust. When someone keeps repeating small signs of respect, like listening without interruption, sharing space without arrogance, helping without cameras, our brains start to accept them as safe. Keanu has mastered this without planning because it comes from his nature. There is another layer, the layer of restraint under pressure. Once during a press event, a reporter asked him a cruel question about his past tragedies. Many stars would grow angry or walk away. But Keanu paused, took a slow breath, and answered with dignity. He did not attack. He did not shame. He simply shifted the focus to something more meaningful. This restraint is not weakness. It is strength. It shows that his emotions do not control him, but he controls them. For people watching, this creates calmness, and calmness builds trust. Yet even with all this, there are moments of doubt. Some people ask, is this kindness real or is it an image built for fame? The twist is that his truest acts happen when nobody expects them. Years ago, his motorcycle broke down on a highway. Instead of calling for special help, he accepted a ride from a stranger in a small truck. During the ride, the stranger later said, Keanu listened to his life story, nodded gently, and even gave quiet encouragement. When they arrived, Keanu thanked him again and again. For the stranger, it felt as if he had met not a star, but a friend. This is what psychologists call human mirroring. When someone of great power makes you feel equal, your brain stops defending and starts trusting. It is the same reason why we trust a teacher who sits beside us rather than one who only stands above us. Keanu knows this instinctively, but trust is not only personal, it is collective. Society remembers patterns. One viral video of kindness can be luck. Two can be coincidence. But dozens of stories from different people across different years show something real. The internet, usually quick to attack, has instead built a shield around him. When a false rumor appears, people defend him instantly. This shows that trust has moved beyond respect. It has become loyalty. In the end, trust is like a mirror. If it breaks once, it is hard to repair. Many stars have broken it by living double lives, showing kindness in public but cruelty in private. Keanu's mirror stays whole because his choices are consistent. The hidden psychology is not a trick. It is a reflection of his lived truth. And so, as the world keeps searching for honest figures, the trust in Keanu keeps rising, not because he asks for it, but because he earns it quietly. Every story shared, every small act repeated, deepens the bond. This part of the story reveals something important for all of us. People trust not when we speak loudly, but when we live gently. They trust not when we show power, but when we show restraint. They trust not when we seek attention, but when we give without asking. Keanu lives these truths, and that is why trust follows him like a shadow. As trust in Keanu Reeves grew, people began to look beyond the surface. They wondered why his presence felt so steady, almost calming even for those who never met him in real life. Psychologists say this is not only about kindness or humility. It is about energy, the quiet signals the human brain picks up without words. In this part of the story, we explore how those signals, combined with his choices, shaped a deeper bond between him and the world. Years ago, a child met Keanu outside a theater. The boy wanted to shake his hand but was too shy to speak. Instead of walking past, Keanu crouched down to the boy's level, smiled, and stretched out his hand first. The boy later said he felt his fear disappear instantly. Small details like this matter more than people realize. When someone lowers themselves physically to meet another person at their level, the brain reads it as safety. This is called nonverbal respect. Keanu practices it naturally. Conflict often reveals the truth of character. During one film production, a disagreement broke out between two crew members. Voices were raised, anger filled the air, and most people stepped away. But Keanu did not. He walked over calmly, spoke softly, and listened to both sides. Within minutes, the shouting turned into quiet. He did not force control. Instead, he brought calm energy into the room, and people adjusted to match it. This is emotional regulation. And when someone shows it, trust in them grows even stronger. Still, trust is never free from challenge. Some critics argued that his image of humility was just a mask. They said it was easy to be kind when you are wealthy, but life kept answering those doubts. When he gave away a large part of his earnings to the crew of a famous movie, he did not announce it. Only later, when crew members themselves shared the story, did people learn the truth. If it was only about image, he would have spoken about it. Silence proved sincerity. Another story added to this trust. Once on a long flight, the plane made an emergency landing in a small town. Many passengers were frustrated and anxious. While others complained, Keanu quietly helped organize vans to take stranded people closer to their destinations. He even rode with them, chatting casually, sharing music, and telling stories to lighten the mood. This moment showed not only kindness, but leadership without ego. People who were strangers before the flight left with a memory they would carry forever. The hidden psychology here is powerful. People trust leaders who serve, not those who demand. When someone of high status joins ordinary struggle, the walls of fear and doubt fall. Keanu's choice to sit in the van instead of arranging a private escape spoke louder than any speech could. But there is also resilience. Trust deepens when we see someone rise again and again after loss. Keanu faced heartbreak, grief, and loneliness. Instead of closing his heart, he kept living with quiet strength. People relate to that because everyone carries some form of pain. When we see someone survive without bitterness, it gives us hope that we can too. This is the emotional mirror he holds up to the world. Strength in silence, grace in grief. One evening, a fan once asked him directly how he stays so kind after everything he has lost. His answer was simple. He said, "I know how it feels to hurt, so I never want to be the reason someone else feels the same." These words spread widely, not because they were clever, but because they were true. Honesty builds trust faster than perfection ever can. The pattern becomes clear. Trust is not magic, it is repetition. Keanu's life is filled with these repeated signals: nonverbal respect, emotional calm, humility in wealth, leadership in crisis, resilience in loss, and honesty in speech. Together, they create a deep emotional thread between him and millions of strangers. This part of the story reminds us of something universal. Trust does not live in wealth or fame. It lives in the way we make others feel. When people feel respected, safe, and equal, they trust. Keanu has become a mirror of that truth. As the story of Keanu Reeves and the psychology of trust continues, we move into even deeper layers of his connection with people. By now, we know that his humility, kindness, and resilience shape the foundation. But in this part, we focus on how his choices during pressure, his refusal to chase attention, and his ability to make others feel seen create something rare in the modern world: unconditional trust. One of the most powerful examples happened during a film premiere. Hundreds of cameras flashed, reporters pushed forward, and fans crowded the street. Many celebrities in that position keep walking, heads held high, pretending not to see individuals in the crowd. Keanu did the opposite. He noticed a young fan in a wheelchair being blocked by the crowd. He gently moved toward her, knelt down, and spoke with her for several minutes, ignoring the rush of reporters calling his name. The girl's mother later shared that Keanu's quiet presence made her daughter feel like the most important person there. This is how trust multiplies. When someone famous chooses connection over image, there is also the way he deals with conflict in private. During one interview, A reporter asked him about his future in Hollywood, expecting him to brag about success or upcoming roles. Instead, Keanu gave a modest smile and said, "I'm lucky to keep working." This small answer carried a hidden strength. Most stars fight to prove their worth, but Keanu let humility speak for him. Humility lowers defenses because it removes competition. People trust those who do not need to prove they are better. Another story shows how he treats people in everyday life. Once, a fan met him at a bookstore. Nervous and shaking, the fan asked for an autograph. Keanu signed, then asked the fan what kind of books they loved. They spoke for several minutes about authors and stories. The fan later wrote online that he left the store not only with an autograph, but with the feeling that he mattered. Here lies the secret. Keanu does not just give people his time, he gives them his attention. And attention, in a world full of distraction, is the highest form of respect. Psychologists explain that when someone of power gives attention without rushing, our brains release a chemical linked with trust. It tells us this person is safe. This person values me. Keanu activates this again and again, not through performance, but through real listening. But there is also his choice of silence. In an age where stars share everything on social media to stay relevant, Keanu chooses privacy. At first, some thought this would weaken his image. Instead, it made it stronger. By not pushing himself into headlines, he allowed his actions to speak louder than his words. People trust more when they feel someone is not forcing them to believe a story. Still, life tested this trust. When he faced losses and deep personal pain, some expected him to disappear into bitterness. But instead, he showed resilience. He kept acting, kept riding his motorcycle, kept helping quietly. When life breaks someone and they rise with gentleness instead of cruelty, others begin to believe in their strength. Resilience is not only survival, it is survival without losing humanity. A powerful moment came when a fan once asked him in public, "What happens after death?" Instead of laughing it off or giving a false answer, he paused. The crowd grew silent. Then he said softly, "I know that the ones who love us will miss us." The answer was simple, but it carried truth. No pretending, no preaching, just honesty. Honesty builds trust because it shows respect for the listener. Each of these moments adds another layer to the psychology of why people trust him. It is not about perfection. It is about patterns. Choosing humility when pride is easier. Choosing kindness when ignorance is simpler. Choosing honesty when lies are safer. Choosing silence when noise would bring attention. These choices repeat again and again until trust is not a question anymore, but a natural response. This part of the story shows us something important. Trust is not built once, it is built every day, and Keanu Reeves continues to build it, not by trying, but by living. As this journey continues, the question grows stronger. Why do people not only admire Keanu Reeves, but also trust him as if he were a friend? In this part, the answer goes deeper into the way he balances fame with simplicity, how he handles power without pride, and how his quiet choices become life lessons for those who watch him. One story that shows this clearly happened during a birthday celebration. Most Hollywood stars throw large parties with lights, photographers, and endless guests. Keanu's birthday was different. A passerby once saw him sitting alone on a bench, eating a small piece of cake and sharing it with strangers nearby. When people approached to greet him, he welcomed them warmly, laughing and listening as if they were old friends. The photo of him on that bench went viral, not because it was glamorous, but because it was real. This image told people, he is not performing, he is living simply. Simplicity breeds trust because it removes the fear of pretense. Another layer is how he treats the people who work behind the scenes. After finishing a big movie, he gave motorcycles as gifts to stuntmen who had risked their bodies during the action scenes. But even more than the gift itself, he spent time with them, learning about their lives, eating with them, and treating them as equals. In an industry where stars are often distant from their crews, Keanu's actions broke the barrier. People trust those who see everyone as equal, no matter their position. But trust is also shaped by how someone handles fame under pressure. Once, while walking through a crowded airport, fans rushed toward him and reporters shouted questions. Many celebrities in that situation become frustrated or angry. Keanu stayed calm, stopping to sign autographs, smiling gently and even helping a fan pick up items they had dropped in the chaos. This restraint under pressure communicates safety. When people see that he does not lose control in stressful moments, they instinctively feel they can rely on him. There are also stories of his generosity that never reach headlines until others share them. Crew members from different films have said he quietly supported them financially during hard times. He did not announce these actions, and often, people only learned about them years later. Generosity without attention is one of the strongest signs of sincerity, and sincerity is the root of trust. But Keanu's influence goes beyond kindness. It also lies in how he carries pain. The world knows he has suffered loss and grief, but he does not hide or deny it. Instead, he carries it with grace, allowing it to shape his compassion. When people see someone who has faced darkness but still chooses light, they believe in that person more deeply. It reminds them that they too can survive pain without becoming bitter. One powerful example is how he speaks about loneliness. In an interview, when asked if he was lonely, he did not pretend. He admitted softly that sometimes he felt it. Instead of hiding behind pride, he showed vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as weakness, but in truth, it is strength. When someone allows themselves to be seen fully, others connect. Trust grows not from perfection, but from honesty. This part of the story also reveals how trust is not only personal, but cultural. In a world filled with scandals, lies, and broken promises, people long for figures who represent honesty. Keanu fills that space because his life is consistent. People see the same man on screen, in interviews, on the street, or on the subway. Consistency creates security. When people know what to expect, they feel safe. In the end, the hidden psychology of trust is built from many layers: simplicity, equality, restraint, generosity, resilience, and vulnerability. Keanu shows each of these without force, and together, they create a figure who feels more like a neighbor than a celebrity. This part of the story reminds us of something universal. Trust is earned not in grand stages, but in small benches, quiet gestures, and simple words. And that is why Keanu Reeves continues to hold the rare gift of being trusted instantly. As we move deeper into the story, the picture of why people trust Keanu Reeves instantly becomes clearer. It is not only about acts of kindness or moments of humility, but also about how his presence shapes the people around him. In this part, we see how his choices during difficult times, his natural ability to calm tension, and his refusal to let power change him, strengthen the bond of trust even more. Once during a film set, tension grew between producers and crew members. The schedule was behind, money was tight, and tempers were rising. Many stars would stay away from the conflict, choosing comfort instead of struggle. Keanu did the opposite. He joined the crew at their table during breaks, listening to their worries and sharing his own food. Slowly, the mood shifted. One crew member later said, "He made us feel like we were all on the same side." This is the hidden power of solidarity. When a person of high status stands beside those with less, trust is born naturally. There is also the way he reacts to insults. In Hollywood, pride often pushes stars to fight back when mocked. But Keanu carries himself differently. During a late-night show, a comedian made a joke about his age, expecting him to feel embarrassed. Instead, Keanu laughed gently, nodded, and responded with grace. The crowd cheered, not for the joke, but for his humility. Trust often grows stronger when we see that someone is not controlled by ego. Another powerful moment happened on a subway train. The video is famous now. Keanu sitting quietly with other passengers reading a book, and then giving up his seat for a tired woman. What stood out was not just the act, but the natural way he did it. No hesitation, no performance, just instinct. The video went viral, and people around the world said the same thing. This is why we trust him. Small acts, when repeated consistently, become proof of character. But perhaps the deepest reason for this trust is how he treats silence. Most stars chase attention, fearing that silence will erase them. Keanu embraces silence. He does not appear in every magazine, nor does he fill the internet with his opinions. Instead, he allows his actions to carry the weight of his story. Silence in a noisy world feels honest, and honesty creates safety. Yet trust is not built only on kindness. It is also built on resilience. After losing people he loved, Keanu could have chosen bitterness. Instead, he chose to keep giving. He once said in an interview, "Grief changes shape, but it never ends." These words touched millions. They trusted him not because he gave easy answers, but because he spoke the truth that everyone feels but few dare to say. There is also a special quality in his empathy. During a fan event, a young man told Keanu that his movies helped him survive depression. Instead of giving a quick thank you, Keanu looked him in the eye and said softly, "I'm glad you're here." Those 4 words carried weight. They did not come from a script, but from the heart. Trust grows when people feel seen in their struggle. The psychology behind this is simple. Our brains are designed to detect sincerity. When words and actions match again and again, trust becomes automatic. Keanu's life is filled with this consistency. He treats strangers with respect, co-workers with equality, critics with grace, and fans with attention. No matter the setting, the pattern does not change. This part of the story teaches us that trust is not only about what we do in public, but also how we carry ourselves in private. People can feel when someone is real, even through stories and videos. Keanu has become that rare example, a man whose actions echo louder than any fame, whose silence speaks more than any advertisement, and whose humility builds bridges across the world. As the final part of this story begins, the question remains, why do people all over the world trust Keanu Reeves instantly, even if they have never met him? The answer is not found in one act or one story, but in the steady rhythm of his life. Trust is not created in a moment. It is created in a pattern, and Keanu's pattern is one of kindness, respect, humility, and resilience. There is a famous photo of him sitting alone on a park bench, eating quietly. Some people at first called it sad, but others saw something deeper. They saw peace. In a world where stars fight for cameras, Keanu looked comfortable in silence. He was not afraid of being ordinary. This image carried a message. He does not need the world to praise him in order to live honestly. People trust those who are at peace with themselves because it means they have nothing to hide. Another story tells of a time he rode his motorcycle through the city at night. He stopped at a small diner, ate simply, and even spoke with workers as if they were old friends. No security, no distance. When one of them nervously asked for a photo, he agreed, smiling warmly. The worker later said, "He treated me like I mattered." In that short moment, trust was created again. But Keanu's trustworthiness does not only come from how he treats others. It also comes from how he treats pain. Life gave him loss after loss. Yet instead of closing his heart, he kept it open. He once said, "Sometimes simple things can be the most healing." Those words reached people because they were not polished, they were real. When someone speaks from lived experience instead of performance, people believe. In Hollywood, power often changes people, but Keanu has shown again and again that he does not chase power and he does not let it chase him. He gives away money to crews, he chooses projects carefully, and he values people over profit. This refusal to be consumed by greed is rare, and rarity strengthens trust. Psychologists explain that humans are drawn to those who combine strength with gentleness. Keanu's strength is clear in his work ethic and resilience, but his gentleness is clear in his words, gestures, and silence. This balance makes people feel safe. They see someone strong enough to stand, yet gentle enough to care. The internet, often a place of negativity, has become his defender. Whenever rumors appear, countless people rise to protect his name. This is not normal for celebrities. It happens only when the public feels that their trust has been earned. Keanu has earned it, not by asking, but by living truthfully. In the end, the hidden psychology of trust is not about science alone. It is about being human in a way that others can feel. People trust Keanu Reeves because he does not stand above them, he stands beside them. He does not demand respect, he gives it first. He does not seek attention. He lets kindness create it naturally. This is why strangers defend him, why fans cry when meeting him, why millions believe in his quiet presence. Trust is not built in speeches or headlines. It is built in benches, in subway trains, in small acts of listening, and in the choice to remain humble even when the world offers glory. Keanu Reeves shows us that real trust is born when we live with respect, carry pain with grace, give without reward, and remain humble no matter how high we rise. And that is why people trust him instantly, without doubt, without fear, and without hesitation.